Greetings, boils and ghouls. Welcome back to Midnight Movie Massacre. We are returning once again to the Kaiju quarantine, seeing how it's going to be a fucking while before the country opens back up. Anyways, we've still got plenty of time to do this. And to celebrate reviving this bitch after a couple of months, we are going to be diving deep into the Gamera series. I promised you guys a while ago that he would be appearing many times in this series, and it's time to finally follow through with that promise. And our first film to that end is going to be Gamera vs. Barugon, the only film in the Showa period of Gamera that was not directed by Noriaki Yuasa. This time around, we got Shigeo Tanaka at the helm. It was produced by Hidemasa Nagata with a screenplay by Nissan Takahashi. It stars Kojiro Hongo in his first of many appearances in the Gamera series. It also stars Kyoko Inami as Karen and Koji Fujiyama as Onodera. Kojiro Hongo is playing Keisuke Hirata. We also got Teruo Aragaki once again reprising his role as Gamera. This is his second of 4 appearances as the giant turtle we all know and love. In addition to this being the only film in the Showa period with a different director, this is also the only film in the Showa period that does not have a child as one of the main characters. Basic gist of it is 6 months after the events of the first film, where they launched Gamera into space on that rocket, he collides with a meteor and is released. He's had a nice rest, so he's more powerful than ever, and he heads directly back to Earth, where he attacks a dam in Japan because it's full of energy. And of all the places on the planet, why not Japan? Anyway, he wrecks that shit, gets a nice full belly, ends up heading off so he can soak up some energy from a volcano that's about to erupt. And we shift over to our main characters of the film, which is Keisuke Hirata. He's a pilot that's trying to start his own business, and his brother, Ichiro, hid an opal that he found in New Guinea in a cave back during the war. So he is sending him and this guy Onodera and their friend, I believe it's Wakasashi or something, I don't remember the third dude's name. Anyway, those 3 are sent off to this island in New Guinea, where they promptly ignore the warnings of the natives, and they find this fucking opal. The one dude, Onodera, is a total fucking scumbag though, and so he just betrays his friends immediately, lets a scorpion sting the one dude, and then literally tries to fucking bury the other guy alive, but Keisuke manages to survive and is in the care of the natives. One of the Japanese-speaking natives that they met upon their arrival, named Karen, ends up going with Keisuke to Japan so that she can, try to retrieve this opal because it's a bringer of great doom. Meanwhile, Onodera leaves the opal in the pocket of his jacket. It gets hit by this infrared light that they were using on his feet to cure like some jungle rot that he got when they were traipsing around out there looking for it. And it incubates the sumbitch, eventually hatching it into Barugon, who proceeds to start ripping Osaka to shreds. Basically, Barugon's deal is he's sort of a magical chameleon, which makes sense because he comes from like a tropical island, right? What doesn't make any sense is his ability to freeze shit with his tongue and project like a 20 below zero cold field around himself. It does make sense once you learn that apparently in an earlier draft it was supposed to be like some Scandinavian ice giant or some other ice creature that he was going to fight. They ended up scrapping that for Barugon, but they liked the ice idea so they kept it around. Anyway, that's his deal. He's a big bastard chameleon with ice breath, just ice generating abilities in general, and he can fire a big fucking rainbow from his, spine. And this rainbow just pretty much obliterates anything except for reflective surfaces, which will come into play later. While she's never seen Barugon herself, because apparently it only appears every 1,000 years, Karen from New Guinea, who's now in Japan with Keisuke, is very familiar with Barugon. Normally they don't get this big. That's to do with the infrared radiation it was exposed to on account of Onodera's fucking foot lamp, but for all intents and purposes, the thing's attracted to light. It's also attracted to diamonds, which also comes into play later, and that's about it. So anyway, Barugon firing off his rainbow blast to explode the rockets or whatever attracts Gamera because he's drawn to energy, as we all know. They get in a little scrap, kind of trade blows. Barugon ends up freezing Gamera, but Gamera gets in a good jab to his fucking eye before completely going dormant because because of, you know, being totally frozen. We get the little subplot where Onodera and Ichiro, Kesuke's brother, end up getting in a crazy fight when he learns that, you know, as far as they know, he's killed Kesuke and their other friend in order to steal this opal for himself. He ends up basically killing Ichiro and his wife, leaving him in the fucking building to be destroyed as, you know, Barugon's wrecking the city. So in both our first two battles of the movie, the human battle and the kaiju battle, the good guys lose. Thankfully, pretty quickly after this, though, Kesuke is able to get his revenge. He absolutely kicks the shit out of Onodera, lets him know that, dude, all this was for nothing. That opal hatched into that fucking monster, so there's no payoff to any of this. And they end up bouncing out to try this plan that they've hatched where they're going to lure Barugon with the use of this giant crystal that Karen has brought from New Guinea. Essentially, back in their, you know, ancient times when Barugon would appear, they would use these diamonds to lure them into the water, because apparently that's Barugon's weakness, is water. It just makes him fucking bleed. They tried initially just, you know, dangling it from a helicopter. That doesn't work, so they hook up with this scientist dude who has like this big light projector thing that they want to stick the crystal in and use it to beam this super like amplified light spectrum through the crystal so that it'll like, you know, make it more powerful and it'll be able to attract Barugon, because they were having trouble with just the crystal since it's so small and he's so much larger than he would be naturally on account of the infrared radiation. And this plan almost goes off without a fucking hitch, but unfortunately Onodera's dumbass learns that they have this huge crystal that they're using, so he shows up on a speedboat, straight up robs them at gunpoint for the crystal, and then is promptly eaten by Barugon, as he should be. Onodera fucking sucked. But anyway, that kind of leaves them at a loss until Kesuke realizes this whole thing with the mirrors, so they convert this big satellite dish into a giant mirror. They lure Barugon over there, he, you know, shoots his rainbow off, and they get a direct hit with it, melting off a bunch of his skin, but it doesn't kill him. So they're just basically kind of fucked. Fortunately for everyone, though, Gamera thaws out right around this time, thaws out a bunch of Osaka in the process, and shows up to put an end to that bastard. Goes about how you would expect. They're fighting on the waterfront, so Gamera is able to use that to his advantage, weaken Barugon, eventually sink his fucking tusks into his throat, and drag him down for the kill, deep into the briny depths, never to be heard from again. Overall, this is just everything you'd want in a sequel to the first Gamera movie. The success of that film allowed them to have a budget somewhere around 80 million yen, which definitely shows in the final product. The fight between Gamera and Barugon itself is separated nicely into those two rounds by all of the meat of the movie, with the subplots to do with the jewel theft and all that shit. It's good stuff. They could have made a movie about these guys, you know, fucking each other over for this gem. That would have been just as entertaining without the giant monsters. But back to the fight itself, it's very reminiscent of Godzilla Raids Again. His fight in that movie with Anguirus is very animalistic compared to the other bouts with other creatures in subsequent movies, and that's very much the case here with Gamera as well. Gamera spends a majority of the fights on all fours, which is super weird when comparing it to later movies, but totally makes sense for a turtle. The score is pretty goddamn good on top of all that as well, and it's the first film that obviously has like bloodshed in it and things like that. I don't think we had any of that in the first Gamera movie, but it's present here and it's prevalent in the next film, which is Gamera vs. Gauss. We'll be hitting that here real soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You can, I believe, currently check out some version of this on Tubi, or you can buy that sweet ass Arrow set that's coming out next month. Very much looking forward to that. In any case, cheers. Thanks for watching.